views and opinions expressed on Think and Grow with Vette Green does not reflect the views of Charm City Direct TV Network. Some language, videos, and content may not be suitable for young viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's going on, you guys? It's your girl, Vette Green, coming to you once again on another episode of Think and Grow with Vette Green. Today, I am so honored to bring this guest, Lori, formerly known as Hypnotic. Yep, we'll get to that. This lady is so awesome. This queen is so awesome. Go make sure you guys tap into her podcast. Lemon Drops and Lapdances. This is available wherever you get your podcasts. She is so authentic, just so transparent. And I'm so happy that she decided to come on this podcast. I'm so honored. So come on in, Lori. Come on in the room, queen. Hey. Oh, you are my peoples. Oh my God. I was listening to your podcast and I was just like, she is just so in the very first episode. You laid it all out there. You told your story. You were so transparent and just so beautiful. And it was so well thought of. And it just gripped me. I'm like, oh my God, like she's one of my people. So Lori, welcome. Tell everyone who you are, where you come from, and a little bit about what Lori likes to do. Who is Lori? You're frozen right now. But that is all right. We're going to get through this because the enemy is a lie, and he is not going to keep this interview from going on because Lori's podcast. So while she's getting her technical things going on, okay, come on back, Lori.
I'm here. We are having technical difficulties, and I just tried to make sure that we are not having them anymore. Thank you so much for having me on and for that beautiful introduction. Who is Lori? I mean, Lori is Lori. Lori is wild and crazy and big. So, yeah, I loved sharing my story right now. Is here.
One of the things, Lori, it's freezing again.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how I know you have something powerful to say to somebody tonight, because the enemy is definitely at work right now. It is freezing, your face frozen, and everything. E Digger, we cannot make this stuff up. Oh my goodness. E Digger, have you listened to Lori's podcast?
I have.
Isn't it so wonderful?
Yes, I am. Man, ever since I met Lori, it was a connection with her and I. I listened to it, and I've always I'm when I get up in the morning, I'm listening to it, and throughout the day when I decide to get my day started, I'm listening to it. So yeah,
it's that kind of podcast. I listened to it like 2 or 3 times yesterday because I was surprised, Lori, because not everyone can be that transparent and that authentic. Right off the back, you told your story. You told the hurtful parts of your story, and it was and you allowed yourself to cry, and I'm like, I'm crying with you because I'm a water baby as well. I cry at the the least little thing happened, and you told your story. So Digga, what did you think about did you the very first episode? So let's get right into it, Lori. Tell everyone who you are and where you come from.
Okay, so I'm Lori. I grew up in Panama City, Florida, small town of Florida, and I came from a drug addict mother and an alcoholic and drug addict father. I was a homeless teenager, and I didn't have the best start to life, but God, so I'm here, and God is just amazing, right? So I have this podcast, and and I've been praying about it, and then God just brings the most amazing people into your life when you allow him the opportunity to lead.
Yeah.
You know?
I
And so
agree.
here I am sitting here with you,
Right?
and
The connection.
it's incredible. So
I,
like
I feel like we've known each other for years, and we have not met in person, but you
no.
definitely you have this aura about you. You know, you just your heart just seems really really kind, and listening to Lemon Drops and Lap Dances, and where you poured it all out there, I was surprised because not everybody can do that. So there are some questions that I have prepared that I wanted to ask you. So, and this is the one thing that got me, Lori, because I don't know. So on your podcast, Lemon Drops and Lap Dances, you state that you're an introvert, but you are so bubbly. I mean, you're just like bubbly all over. And I feel like I'm an introvert at times. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like you're out there, you're about your business. So where's the introvert? Or is that something that you used to identify as?
I still identify as an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert now. I've grown, but I still identify as an introvert. I still have to have those moments where I just have to like decompress and just it gets too people-y sometimes. Right? So you just gotta
agree. I don't need to be around people that
yeah, I think I've become comfortable with being alone. Like I am okay with being alone. And that is like my safe space, my sanctuary where I can just kind of talk to God and just work through life. So I really enjoy my quiet time and my downtime. And it's funny because my son is the same way. So like he'll go to school and he's like, and he plays baseball and he's like the most introverted or extroverted kid that I know. But after like a baseball tournament or after he comes home from school, he just has to go in his room and just lay there for about 20-30 minutes just to kind of reset.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's because we're taking on so much energy, and it's kind of depleting because you have so many personalities that you're around and you're dealing with, you know, all of these people. It can be very, very draining. I say all the time, out of the 7 days of the week, I don't need to be around people, maybe 2. I don't need all of that, Lori.
You don't. And then for personality types like ours, where people tend to be drawn to us and want to share their stories and want to talk to us about anything, like even at a grocery store. And I'm sure that happens to you too, because just because of your aura and who you are, people want to share their lives with you. And it's like, I love it. I want to share my life with you too, but I still need my space.
You have to make sure you're filled up. You're right. I've been in places and have just met people and they're telling me their whole story. And then they'll be like, I can't believe I just told you that. And I'm like, it's God.
It's right.
It's the God in me. I just bring it out. I just bring it out. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because this is something that we both have in common. We were both teen moms. You were a teen mom at a very young age, and you talked about it on the podcast, and you talked about how in some ways, you know, what happened to you as a teen mom, it triggers some feelings within you that you are still dealing with even today. So talk to me about that.
I think when I shared my story on the podcast, I thought I had worked through it. You know, I thought I had done the work and the therapy and everything to work through it, that I could talk about it. But as I was speaking on it, I realized that it's still painful.
It's still there.
It's still there. I often, because I have a relationship with my son. He is incredible. He's such an amazing young man, and he came out of me like that's my kid, and I just can't even believe it. But it's hard because I think about everything that I've missed.
And it's that forgiveness piece and that feeling of guilt. Yeah.
that I've missed, that yes, the guilt and the just, yeah, the shame and the guilt and I thought I had forgiven myself for it, because I know he's forgiven me. We've had the conversations, but it's hard. That
It's
was
hard.
so hard to talk about, and I can't believe I did. So, but
I'm so
it's
proud of you.
freeing too. Is there something so special and holy and sacred about being able to go to those deep dark places that you think you've healed from, and then be able to share them with others, because that resonates on a whole different level with people whenever you're able to share your pain.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
I can,
like
as I
on
was
Facebook, you
listening
see
to
that,
you.
right? Yeah. You get
Absolutely.
those little snapshots of the good times, but nobody really wants to share their pain. And there's something so beautiful in the mess,
Mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
That you can get a message out of it, and it's so good. It's just so, it's like,
It's empowering. It's empowering.
yeah.
Lori, as I was listening to you, I'm feeling you healing yourself. That's how I began on this journey myself. I began to write. Writing is therapeutic for me, and then became the videos. And I realize now when I look back on those videos from 2018 and I think about, the videos that I put out now, I was healing myself. And that's what you're doing by letting it all out. Many of
Mm-hmm.
us will hold on to that pain thinking that we should hold on to it, but it's actually the healing process that we have to go through and letting it
Mm-hmm.
go, talking about it, putting your message out there, letting other people know, what you've experienced in life, because there's so many people out there that don't realize the struggle.
Yeah.
They don't realize that they aren't alone in the struggle. I think that's a better word. They don't realize that they're not alone
Mm-hmm.
in the struggle. And I'm so proud to even have met you, because I think you're amazing, for one. And that guilt, that pain that we feel as parents is because we want to do better than what we saw. And unfortunately, it doesn't always work out like that. So it's a process. I'm still going through the process of forgiving myself for things that
Mm-hmm.
I did not do or was not present for as a parent. So you got this, Queen. You do. Your heart is in a good place. So I believe you're going to be all right. So Lori, let me ask you this. You're a mom, you're a wife, you're going. You have the
Mm-hmm.
athlete. You have a lot going on.
Yes.
So what keeps Lori motivated? What keeps you going and not giving up? Because you've experienced a lot in just your few years. You
Mm-hmm.
aren't, you're not old. You are just in your 30s. So what made you say, I'm going to keep going? I'm going to have a different life. I'm going to provide a different life for myself and my children.
I think going through everything that I did, and then seeing um, my friends still going through some of the same things that I did, I just needed to find a different outcome.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I wanted something more, and I deserved it. Like, I not only wanted it, but I needed it. I deserved it. And once you know that you deserve more in life, you're going to want to go after it. And that's
That's right.
like, I just felt like there's more to me than this situation. And so when I had my daughter, when I met Doug, I'm just like, what is going on? This is crazy. Cuz my husband is completely opposite of everything. Every guy that I ever dated, he's the complete opposite of that. And it's
And
just,
he's the one that got your heart.
exactly. It's like, look at God being funny.
Isn't he
Right?
a trip?
Right? I swear he has the biggest sense of humor. And I always say that when things happen, I'm just like, you know what? You joking with me, but that's okay, because I see you and we got this together.
Absolutely, you do, Queen. Absolutely. I'm so happy that in spite of everything that happened, in your childhood and everything that led up to, you dancing, that your life turned out so much different than you even thought it could be. So let's talk about the dancing. Where were you in Florida at the time?
I was in Florida. Yes,
You
I was in
were.
Panama City, Florida. Yeah, so
Okay,
I
hypnotic.
alternated between three clubs. It's so funny. It's so funny to hear that right now because like I'm so far removed from that, but it's still like hypnotic is still a part of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that
Mm-hmm.
she was a part of the journey too. So it's like, okay, I see you. You still in there, girl. I
She
see
helped
you.
push you. She helped push you to
That's the
this place.
hustler.
That's the
Yeah.
booby is mine. Booby is mine.
Okay, Booby's still in there.
Booby's very much in here. She's the one that knows how to survive. She's the one that's gonna get out there and
Yes.
make it happen.
Yes.
Vet is
Just
the
like
even killed
Beyonce,
one.
Sasha Fierce.
That's
Hypnotic
right.
is
We
still
all got
here.
them. We all got it. Listen, it is what it is. I
Mm-hmm.
get it. I get it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how do you handle love and marriage now? So you went from, being single and a
Mm-hmm.
teenage mom to now you're raising a beautiful family. Your kids are gorgeous. You're with this husband who you didn't think that you didn't have him in your plans, but God had a different plan for you. So how do you handle that? Because you're glowing. So that's happiness.
Mm-hmm. It's different. When I feel like when you let go of all the things that you have for yourself and open yourself up to the things of God and his plan for you, it's just different. It's a different kind of glow. It's a different kind of glow up. It's just God is the man, like for real. So with Doug, he's just different. Like he got me on a level that no one else had ever got. Like he's my best friend. And I give him the hardest time, but he is genuinely my person. And I had never had that. And because I had never had like the normal kind of love growing up, he allowed me to work through the things that I needed to work through in order to have the best relationship with him that I can have. And I am so grateful for that. He was so understanding of the journey that I needed to go on because we've been married almost 20 years.
Wow, that's a beautiful thing.
And it's been a journey because when we got together, I was not mature at all. I wasn't ready, but he was ready and God knew he was the right one for me. So he had the patience that he needed to have in order for me to be able to become the best version of myself. And for that, I am grateful. But yeah, and honestly, it's as corny as it sounds, I didn't realize that I was praying for Doug and writing our story when I was praying for my spouse, my future spouse, when I was doing, like, I wrote it all down. Like you said, you were with writing. I wrote it all down too. And I wrote and I prayed for my future spouse and I was praying for Doug.
Oh wow. And look at God shining his light on you. That's yay, Doug. First off, yay,
Yeah,
Doug.
yay,
Because
Doug.
when you get someone that understands you and is patient with you and willing to go through the process with you, that's an amazing thing. So you asked and God provided. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yay, Doug, because there aren't a lot of men that would be able to do that. And you honestly said that that you weren't mature at the time, but he was ready. So that says a lot about your husband. So absolutely, absolutely. So in one of the episodes, I wrote this because I felt it in your voice. You said, "Be great anyways." I love that. And that I am not for everyone. That's a process that I think that is one of the hard things. That's one of the challenging things. When you have to admit to
Mm-hmm.
yourself that everyone's not going to want to root for you, everyone's not going to like you, and you aren't for everyone. I had to
Mm-hmm.
admit that to myself. So you said be great anyways, and I'm not for everyone. That's a powerful statement, one that I have to remind myself of, because it's easy to get caught up in this rat race. It's so easy to get caught up in the right rat race trying to be a people pleaser. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're a people pleaser, you just want everyone to like you. So what made you come to that conclusion about Lori? That you're not
I
for everyone, that you know that there's going to be people that's rooting for you and people that aren't.
yeah, so I came to that realization shortly after I became a military spouse. Because I wanted to, do the right thing and be the people pleaser and all of that. But honestly, I ended up in a situation where I was like, what am I doing?
Mm.
I what am I doing here? And so once you get into a situation where you have to question who you are and your identity, that's when this this ain't it.
Yeah.
Sis.
Yeah.
But but I think for me, realizing that I wasn't for everyone was when I decided to show up unapologetically myself in everyday life. Um, and
Yep.
that was a hard thing for me, being an introvert and just wanting to kind of be in the shadows a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, realizing that I am my own person and that not everybody, and I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is something that I've come to terms with. But the other thing about that, and on the other coin, is that God puts people in your life for a season, and
Season reason.
as yeah, season for a reason in the season, and it's hard because we're relational people.
Mm.
We're human.
We crave that. We crave that connection with each other. We need that.
Right, right. And you also want what's best for everybody around you if somebody's close to you. But not everybody's
Mm-hmm.
going to have the same heart as you, and not everybody's going to have the same hustle as you. And so you
Mm.
have to be able to differentiate those people that are going to have that heart and hustle in your life.
Mm. That's a powerful statement.
And
That's so
so,
true.
yeah,
That's so true.
yeah.
That it's I remember when 2020 came around, that was my challenge. This was even before COVID. My challenge to myself was to show up as myself, no matter where I'm at, just show up as myself. And it is very, very challenging because you realize that everyone can't take the light. They say Lisa Nichols is one of my sheroes. I love her so much. She's a motivational speaker.
Yes.
Oh, she is such my person. Oh my goodness. I can't wait till the
Yes.
world opens up so I can go to the Bahamas and see her. But
Yes.
I took one of her courses and she said, stop dimming your light. Stop dimming your light because people around you can't take it. If they can't take it, tell them to put on some sunglasses. And when I heard her say that, I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, like show up as your true self, Vet. Show up no matter what the circumstances is as your true self. Show up as your true self at work. Show up as your true self at home around friends. And it was challenging going back home and being this person that I am right now because they knew me as somebody else. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't want to pretend to be someone else. I don't want to dim my light. If you can't take it, then, put on some shades. So my next question for you is,
That's it.
how now are your parents still living? And if they are, do you guys have any type of relationship at all?
Um, is not living, but he and I reconciled before he passed away, and we had a really good conversation. He passed away, um, and so it was hard. It was hard because we had a really good conversation, and then he passed away, and I actually spoke at his funeral, so that was interesting. But with my mother, I do not have a relationship at all, period,
Yeah.
because and it's not for lack of trying, because I did try. um but the most recently in 2018 was the last time I spoke to her. um it was after Hurricane Michael. I actually had her move down to Florida, and I had let her stay at our house, but the energy that she brought was dimming the light of my children, and that not in my house, right? Because
That's
this
a
is their
no-no.
house. They have to be comfortable. And so my daughter, who is just a ray of sunshine, my oldest child, my light, my love, I love her to pieces. um she's such a sweet, innocent spirit. Like, she's such a sweet, innocent person and soul, and she would just stay in her room
Oh, wow.
because she didn't even want to come out of her room while my mom was there. And I'm like, you know what, this isn't gonna work. So I didn't tell her. I was like, you know what, Doug, you're the man of the house. You got this. Because I just
Go,
was
Doug,
like,
go.
go, Doug. And so he told her, and then she texted him with some lies about me, and I'm like, oh, so this is the kind of person that you still are. Wonderful. And so since then, we have not had a relationship at all.
So how
So yeah.
a lot of times when
But God is good. He's given me lots of aunties.
that's how God comes prepared. He makes sure that we have what we need. So many times with relationships, when the relationship isn't healthy with a parent and a child, sometimes it spills over into that child raising their own children. How have you made sure that that type of toxic behavior didn't spill over into raising your own children?
I became aware of what the toxic traits my mother had. And so whenever they do come out, I I am quick to be able to recognize it. And
Mm-hmm.
when I have lashed out at my kids or done something crazy, I've been the first to apologize for it, which
Yeah.
I've never received an apology from my mom ever. And so I'm quick to apologize. I'm quick to take the responsibility for my action and let them know that, hey, this is not okay. I was doing that as a trauma response from something that I grew up with, and I don't want you to have that. So I'm definitely doing the work that I need to do in order for my children to not pass that on to their children.
I could tell that you're doing the work. Immediately you said you're able to recognize that it's a trauma response, and you're able to take accountability, which I think is huge. I know parents now that will not take accountability for their actions, and their children suffer because of it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I learned right away is to take accountability for all my actions, even the ones that I feel guilty about, the ones that make me not want to look at myself in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you take accountability, then you shift the power back to yourself, and you're able to realize what you have control over and what you don't. It's the serenity prayer. God
Yes.
give me the strength, or the ability to know the things I can change, and the knowledge to know the difference. I love that prayer because it's so real, and sometimes it helps put me in a place of understanding, like that you can't control everything. There's some things that
Yes.
God's like, get your hand out the pot. You can't control it. Understand that there's going to be things that you can control and things that you can't. you have to know the difference, because when
Yep.
you don't know the difference, that's when you have this chaotic brain and you're mad and angry all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And it's like, where is this coming from? It's because you think you can control everything, and you can't. And
Mm-hmm.
I do hope that, as far as your mom, that she gets the healing that she needs. Because another thing
Yeah.
that I've been able to understand is that our parents, even though they made so many mistakes, it makes me wonder what they had to go through themselves to bring on that toxic behavior.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the imposter syndrome, Lori. I was so happy you talked about that. Oh my, is it real? The struggle
Yes.
is real.
Yes, 100% imposter syndrome is real, and I deal with it almost on a daily basis.
Mhm.
I I look at my life and I look at where I am and I'm like, "What? How did I get here? Who is this? Who's living this life? Like this is
Mhm.
so." But you have to realize that like God will never give you more than you can handle, and
That's
we
my
have a
mom's
really
quote.
good father, right? So
Mhm.
like he wants to be able to give us good things. Like he wants nothing but good for us. It's just when we take on the talk of the enemy and the negativity around us saying that we don't deserve this is when we start to get into that mindset of, oh, well, I'm not good at this. I can't. Why am I doing this? Like
Yeah.
it's hard and it's a daily battle. It's a daily struggle, especially for me. But um I realize it. Um and I have a habit of when I go to bed, I will count down at least 10 things that I am grateful for and 10 things that I want to achieve. And by remembering those things, I realize that and when they happen, I can go back to that moment where I said, I want to achieve this and I'm grateful for this. And those are the things that I am looking forward to doing in my life. And
Mhm.
that's a humbling feeling. And then I journal. So I journal everything.
Oh, do you like
I
day
write
one?
I write down everything. I write down my prayers
Mm.
and I write my letters. My prayers are like, dear God, and I write down these prayers. And when I go back to them, it's just so nice. Because it's like, um, it's like
When we write them down, we're
you can see
manifesting
the
them.
journey that God has brought you on.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, and that too. It's so powerful to be able to put pen to paper and write down the things of the desires of your heart. Like God says, He'll give you the desires of your heart, and that's what I'm doing. I'm literally writing down the desires of my heart, and
Yeah.
so far, I'm batting 1,000. Like
Ooh.
I went back. So I went back and I talk about this on a podcast, but I went back to specific prayers where I prayed for locations and destinations that the Air Force would send us, and it went in the perfect sequential order of my prayers. And I'm
Mm.
just like, what?
It's powerful. Isn't God so awesome? It's
It's
powerful.
amazing. It's amazing. And so it's incredible and I get so awestruck by it, right?
Yes, that's the perfect word. That's the perfect word. Just in awe. Because what God does in our lives, all we have to do is ask Him.
Mm-hmm.
We go around thinking that God doesn't love us, that we're waiting on God, and it's not like that at all. God just wants us to open up our mouths, ask Him for what we want, and acknowledge Him in everything that we do, in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge Him, because it's but God. I say that sentence so many times,
Me too.
because I look at my life, Lori, and I'm like, oh my God, that imposter syndrome. It's like, how can a woman who was literally just 3 years ago addicted to pain pills? I was taking 13 medications in the
Mm.
morning and the nighttime. I was chasing I was using vodka as a chaser to swallow Ambien, Klonopin, and 40 milligrams of Lortabs. How could God take this woman and place her in this place right now, in this space right now, to be able to overcome those things? You know, it's amazing that it's God is. I am in such awe of God, and I wish more people realize that it is the only thing He requests of us is to acknowledge him and begin to do the work. And you started doing the work. So talk to me about the transition from being in the club scene, because you talked about your partying and stuff like that, which many of us have gone through. I went through my party stage. And so talk about the transition. And the other thing I want to ask you about, which I thought was so amazing, even in the club, you were able to use that hustle mentality and nobody ever left broke. Everybody got something, which I thought was amazing. Talk about collaboration.
Yeah. So I did not know about collaboration and growth mindset until I really like got into the club and got around these women who were all about empowering each other and growing better each day. And I'm just like, what? We in a strip,
in a club,
y'all.
The strip club. But the women were smart.
They were smart. And they were smart. And that's when I was like, what? Like, that was such a game changer for me and to this day, when I see somebody or a woman that is just like closed off to having a relationship to another woman and growing, I'm just like, sis, I'm gonna need you to get it together, because you're missing out on so much. Because we are not each other's enemy. And especially for Black women, it's a stigma where we just have to, like, you know, we're ghetto, we don't collaborate, it's this and this and this. And it's like, no. Once we get together and we start collaborating, it's so powerful. And I love us for that.
It's so powerful, Lori. It really is. Fix my sister's crown. I'm gonna fix my sister's crown if it's tilting, and I want my sister to fix my crown, because we are so powerful together. We are so powerful together. The things that we can do in this world, if we only decide to work together and not be catty about it. There's no need to be catty. There's enough in this world for everybody. Don't drag me.
It is.
Don't pull me
more
down.
than enough. There's more than enough for everybody.
Even this collaboration is amazing. This is something that more people need to do. Bring each other along, especially if they're ready to go on this journey, because many people aren't ready to go on that journey. Would you agree, E. Digger? A lot of people are not willing to go on a journey of self-discovery. Instead, they would rather you agree too?
I agree. I definitely agree. Especially like you said, especially this collaboration. You know, it's not often that you see this two women
two beautiful
talking,
Black women.
Right, exactly. Sitting down talking about your life goals, expectations, future goals. This is what's needed now, especially any day now and present now with everything that we're going through. So I commend you. I commend you both for your journey, your growth, what you're doing, and more importantly, inspiring others. You know, that's the most important thing right there. So I'm gonna go back behind the scenes.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And then so I just want to take a moment to like acknowledge our girl Jasmine too, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's my sis. She rides out. She is. You guys, both of you guys have been so supportive, and we met through the barbershop and Mike's. But the sisterhood that I got because of that podcast is just amazing. It's so amazing, and she's always out there supporting it, and you're on there supporting it. It's just I was like, crown on, queen, crown on, because
Yes.
you don't get that. You really, we need more of that. We need more of that. Jasmine is the woman. Yes, she
Yes,
is.
I love Jasmine.
Yes, she is.
Oh, I needed to take that second to acknowledge that queen because she is awesome.
She really is, and very, very knowledgeable. And she's
Yes.
willing and ready to help. You don't
Hmm.
even have to ask her. She's willing. She's one of those women that wants other women to win. She wants all of us to win, which is amazing.
Yes.
So let me ask you, so how is the dream you had for yourself back then, prior to Doug and the children, and the dream that you're living right now?
So it's so much more. It's so much more. Like I expected to stay in Panama City, settle down with some cute dude, and maybe have like a farm or something. Just something
That
like
those were
that.
your
Simple.
plans. Those were your plans, but God.
Those were my plans. My plans. But God had something completely different for me. And it's more than I could ever imagine. Like I have four of the most amazing kids. Like my kids, I I don't deserve them. I honestly truly don't. They are incredible. And I look at them every day and I'm just like, "What? Y'all are mine? God
Because
did this
God
for
loves you,
me?"
Queen.
I know. It's so crazy. Like my daughter today, she just got accepted into a school of visual arts in New York. She's
Congratulations.
she's 17. Right.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
Oh
it's
my
she's supposed to be
God.
class of 2023 and she's class of 2022 because that's how
Because
and
God is good. That's why she's
she
she's
is. It's
she's
just
ahead of
amazing.
her
It's amazing.
schedule. God is good. That's
Yeah. God
amazing.
is
I
good.
know that must
Yes.
make you feel so good,
So
because that's an extension of your upbringing, of your raising her. So that must make you feel so good.
it makes me feel so good, especially because I was raised by my grandmother who had maybe a third grade education, but she
Mhm.
always so we slept in the same bed and so she would always like ask me math facts or she would like tell me a story and then she'd like quiz me on it. And it's just like, okay, so my grandmother really valued education and she valued a woman being independent
Mhm.
and so I was able to get there, not
Shout out to all the good
there,
grandmas out
but
there.
then I look at my right. And she's named after my daughter's named after my grandmother. So it's like, oh, okay, Janie, I see you. So she is literally an embodiment of what my grandmother wanted to do in her life.
Mm.
And it's
What would
crazy.
what do you think your grandmother would think about your life right now?
She'd be so proud of me. She'd be so proud of me. And she would just be so happy. Like she would always tell me how proud of me she was. Like she was able to come to the wedding of me and Doug, and she hated all of my boyfriends prior to Doug, all of
Mm.
them. And she'd be like, "That's my son over there. That's my son." I'm like, "What?"
Doug won her heart over.
Okay. Oh,
you
okay. You
you
like
know
Doug, but you ain't
grandmas
like
be
nobody
knowing.
else. Okay.
You know grandmas be knowing. They be knowing, they
Yes.
have that experience, that those years of experience, so that they can sniff them out. They
Yes.
can sniff them out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm just very grateful that she was able to meet Janie and that she was able to meet Doug and kind of see some of my life before she passed away. And she was so proud of me. And I know she would be over the moon at Janie's news today. And so that's like, Janie's going to college. Janie, my grandmother, didn't get
Is
to go,
going
but
to
Janie is
college.
going to college.
Look at God.
Right?
Look at God. Oh, he will make sure that anything that was not broken off of our family, he's going to keep sending someone to break that off of our family. And God is
Absolutely.
so amazing like that. Thank you, God. So let's turn it a little bit. There were points in your life that weren't planned, but they happened, right? Teenage pregnancy wasn't
Yep.
planned, but it happened and you still got through it. Your parents had their own set of issues, but you still got through it. It didn't change your path to the point where you are strung out, laid out, you know, stripping. It didn't change anything. So there were situations that you had to grow through. What would you tell that woman, little Lori, who found herself pregnant and ended up, doing what she had to do to take care of herself? What would the Lori today tell that Lori back then?
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass. Stay strong. I would tell myself it's only for a moment. Everything that you're going through is only for a moment. Everything's going to be all right.
And it is.
Yeah. And it has been. It's more than all right. It's incredible.
It's you got T'Challa.
I got T'Challa.
T'Challa.
Yes.
Amazing.
I got T'Challa by myself too. That wasn't Doug. That was me.
See, Queen. It's possible. Yes. Brag about it. Go ahead and brag about it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I got T'Challa. We've owned houses all over the country. It's just insane. Like, to go from being homeless to owning houses and driving a Jag is just...
It's a testimony that it is not over. Yeah. It is not over. As long as you have breath in your body. Yes, Jasmine, I see you out there, sis. As long as you have breath in your body, God still has a plan. I love Jeremiah 29:11. That's something that I quote to myself quite often. This morning, I was having a battle with my inner me, because that's what I'm battling every day. So I'm having a battle with my inner me, and I'm telling myself, God knows the plan he has for me, plans to prosper me, not hurt me. And I'll go through it and I'll repeat it over and over in my head until it resonates in my cells, because that you got to pick it up. You got to get going. You can't lay down. God bless you too, sis. God bless you. Yes. Jeremiah 29:11, verse 11. Oh my goodness. Yes. I love that. When I heard that, it was at a pivotal time in my life where I didn't know, who I was. Not quite. I was transitioning into Vette, but I didn't quite know what she looked like. So when I read that, now in everything that I do, all the challenges and stuff, I tell myself that, and I'll talk to our Father God and say, God, whatever it is that why this is coming up in my life, I know you have a hand in it. And if you're allowing it, that means you're going to be able to use it. So even if it hurts for a little while, I know I'm going to be all right. I know I'm going to be all right. And so the unexpected is a chance to take the bad. Oh, she dropped off. Oh, these challenges. What are we going to do? So what I want to tell you guys, if you're still out there, this is something that Lori said in her podcast. She said, the unexpected is a chance to take the bad and use it for good. How powerful is that statement? When I think about my own life and I think about all the challenges that I've had to overcome in my life, I was able to take all of that bad that I experienced, all the hurt, all the pain. I was just quoting one of the things that you had said in your podcast. It might have been the very last episode. You said, the unexpected is a chance to take the bad and use it for good. So powerful. I feel like that is like the line, the sentence of many of our lives. So what made you come to that conclusion? Because you have to go through a churning process, to become this diamond that you are. There's a lot of pressure that you have to experience, and many people will quit because of the pressure. I myself have wanted to quit many times. This morning I'm like, oh my God, I'm thinking about everything that's not right and not feeling well, but the show must still go on. And I'm using all of that bad and turning it into good. So talk to me about that, Lori, because that's a very, very powerful statement.
Yeah. So I came up with that. Expect the unexpected. I I came up with that as the last thing where I just was going through my thoughts and I'm like, this podcast is unexpected. Everything about it is unexpected. Everything I went through was unexpected. But you have to be able to sit in those things. And people use that expect the unexpected in a negative connotation, right? And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be negative. When you expect the unexpected, you could be expecting the blessings, right? You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. But when it's an experience that is less than and something that you're not familiar with or comfortable with, you have to learn how to sit in the uncomfortable. Yes. Learn how to be there and experience it. Get gritty with it because it's making you into something greater.
It is.
When you get uncomfortable like that. So I just...
Oprah had said once that you have to learn how to love yourself and be with yourself, be comfortable with yourself. And sometimes it does get uncomfortable because when you're sitting with yourself, all of those negative thoughts can come crashing into your brain. And now this is what you're thinking, but changing the narrative of all of that and looking at it as the things that you've been able to overcome does a world of wonder. It really does. Just changing the narrative of the situation does your body good and your mind good, because now you're not looking at like, oh, why is this happening to me? You're looking at this like, okay, why is this happening to me? Why am I encountering this right now? And chances are it's because I found in my own life, Lori, honestly, is either I keep making the same mistakes. I keep repeating the same mistakes and I did not get the lesson. So I have to keep going through it. Or I'm not paying attention to my life and there's something that God is trying to show me, but I'm so distracted by the world and everything that's going on that I'm not getting it. So I have to keep going through it in order to grow through it and get what it is, extract what it is that God's trying to show me. Because there's always signs out there, always signs out there. So before we close out, tell me, do you watch television? What are you watching right now, or what are you reading?
So yes, I do watch television. I unfortunately watch a lot of Ratchet TV.
So do I.
And so right now I'm watching Selling Sunset, and once I'm finished with that, I'm going to watch Selling Tampa because I lived in Tampa. Tampa's home. And so I'm really interested in seeing these Black women support each other and get this money, right? Like I'm all about it.
I saw that trending on Netflix this weekend. I think it was Selling Tampa.
Selling Tampa. And I love it because this is a Black realtor. She will not hire anybody but Black women. Which I'm like, what? This is amazing.
Yeah. That's we have to empower each other in order to get ahead. We're running this rat race and we're hundreds of years behind. And in order for us to catch up, we have to be able to support each other and get people outside of our race also to support us, because that's what's going to, the unity is what's going to bring everyone together. It's going to bring, there's a show that I'm watching called Harlem. I think it's on Netflix.
Oh,
Netflix
and
or
make
Prime.
it good.
Oh my goodness, Lori, I so love that
Yes.
show. Oh, it's like Sex in the City, the black version.
But black, yes, yes. I'm here for it. I'm here for Harlem.
So good. It's so good. The writing is wonderful. The hair beautiful, and oh my god, one of my favorite characters on there. I can't even think of her name. I think she's supposed to be the ratchet one on there. Big hair. She's like beautiful woman. But yeah, it's a really good show. So Lori, what do you want to leave our listeners with in closing? What have you learned and that you want to share to the world? Tell them
what
right now.
What have I learned that I want to share to the world? Keep moving forward. Things may get hard, things may get tough, but as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other towards your path and your destiny and your dreams, you stay on that trajectory because it's going to be worth it in the end.
That's because we are worth it.
We are worth it. You are worth it. Yes.
Absolutely. Lori from Lemon Drops and Lapdances podcast. I appreciate you, Queen, for coming onto the stage. I knew that this was going to be a wonderful podcast. I was not feeling well earlier, but now I'm all pepped up. So we're going to stay on and talk. Come on, E Dig. Are you out there busy? Do you have any questions for the beautiful Lori? I love it. Oh, this worked out so wonderful. He said, "No, he's good."
Okay.
So, Lori, tell me about the food. I was scouting your page, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." Tell me, there's a chicken meal on there. It looks, and I don't eat asparagus, but it looks so good.
Oh, yeah. So I am still in culinary school.
Good,
So
you are just like a woman of many skills.
I am. So I'm in both culinary school and I'm also in school to get my degree in software engineering because I just love learning.
That's why
like I'm always looking to learn something and grow. So I mean, yeah.
I agree. I love learning. I remember when I was a little girl, Lori, I wanted to go to school forever. I wanted to be a teacher, which is why I have the Think and Grow podcast, because that's what that is the goal, is to teach people.
But you will. You will. And I just want to say this before we get off of here, is that I am so grateful for you, and you are going to do some incredible things. Like this interview, this what we just did, just listening to you and listening to your words, and just I cannot wait to see the excellence that you're going to put forth. And I am just so excited for you, because God has such a calling on your life. And I just can't wait to be like, that is my girl. And look at God.
Look at God. Thank you, Brother Mike. I see you. I am a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher, you guys. I really did. That's what was in my heart. And now I just want to use this platform to teach and help move us forward. You know, I struggled for a little while. I'll say this. I struggled for a little while because I didn't want it to just be about African American people. I didn't want it, because I have friends that aren't African American. So I struggled for a while, but God placed it on my heart to push your people forward. And once I heard that, I decided to, not just, I don't want to have it in a box where it's just about, there's only Black people on here, but I do want to highlight the issues that we face in life and figure out a way to move us forward. So that is my goal. That's my goal.
I mean, your first show was powerful, being a Black man in America. Come on, sis.
Brother Mike is going to be on there, sis. I cannot wait to bring them brothers back. Weren't they powerful?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. If we can get them egos
I've watched
in control.
That like 3, maybe 4 times already. And I'm just
sis,
like,
and
every time I get something different out of it, and I just love it. So I know, just based on right out the gate, you came out the gate just like Like, Jasmine, you just popping off. And I'm like, that's it. And so I'm just so excited. Like, there's just such an energy about you. And then like with E Digga and like, this is so cool. Like everything about this, E Digga's dope. You're dope. And it's just like this, it's just this dope energy that I'm just like,
can't you feel
God.
it? You can
I'm so happy to be a part of this. Like I am so thrilled.
Oh my goodness.
To have gotten to know you guys because it's amazing. You guys are all amazing. And I'm just here. I'm like the ultimate hype woman. Like go.
Listen, sis. Listen, we are going to be in this together. We're going to be touring the world promoting this. We're going to be promoting Lemon Drops and Lapdances and Think and Grow with Vette Green, and we're going to be promoting the power of prayer with our sister Jasmine. This is what God does. He connects like-minded people for a reason. I thank God I didn't even realize I needed E Digga as much as I did. E Digga, you don't even know how much you took off my plate because Lori, just like you, I am one that for me to focus on one thing. I'm so happy. Like this is the
you gotta delegate.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, it's too much. It's too much. So I thank God for E Digga because he just knowing that I have to be on here every Tuesday keeps me in check. Yes, big up E Digga. So we are going to close it out. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you come back next week. We're bringing the Kings back. I know you guys love them. We're coming back to part 2 with the Kings. And it's what now? What do we do now? What are the solutions that we have? We know what was done to us. We know the history. If you don't know the history, it's just a Google search away. Find out your history. What now? We can't keep being victims in this. We have to take our power back. Stop asking for handouts and do what we have to do to move us forward. We can't look for someone to fix us. So come back next week, you guys, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The men will be on. The men will be on. I love you guys. Thank you so much. What's going on, you guys? Thank you so much for joining me on Think and Grow with Vette Green. I hope you enjoyed what you heard today, and I hope that you come on back. Go ahead and follow me on YouTube at Think and Grow with Vette Green, Instagram, Vette Green, and of course, Facebook, Vette Green. Come back, tell somebody about this podcast. They may need what you got today. Come on back. Make sure you subscribe.